Look at that. Let's go into our layout. Look at how smooth all of those shadows are. Welcome back to Blender Frenzy. I am Justin, and we are going to clean up our bake that we did last time. So we baked our lighting onto our toilet paper rolls like this, and you can see the lighting on the floor. Let's go ahead and turn off our light, and I'll go ahead and turn off the floor as well. So you can see no light in our scene, but it has been baked. Now let's look at what we have here. So we baked onto our placeholder, which then we saved out into another image. It was actually just this diffuse with our light on that we baked, and then we saved it onto an image, and then we opened up that image, and that's what we have. So in this video, we are going to focus on the blotchy textures, and that is the easiest part because we are going to take this image that we've already saved and we are just going to blur it a little bit, and that will give us a nice smooth shadow cast across our pile of rolls. Rolls sounds like food. Toilet paper rolls, of course. Now, I could come over here and rebake it, and I could go up here to my samples and make that 500, 1,000, 2,000, and then wait an hour, 2 hours, however many hours it will take to render that nice smooth image. Now, I could mess around with this denoising, and I think I will probably do that at some point. The reason I don't do that here is because I haven't messed with it yet, and it's a fairly new thing. I know before you used to have to go to experimental, and I never did that. Well, in Blender 2.9, it looks like it's fully integrated, I think, but I don't have any experience with that, so we're going to do it this other way. So what you want to do is come over here to the compositing. Now, we've already saved out our image. If you haven't saved out your image yet, just with your placeholder or with whatever you use to bake onto, come over here to image and then save a copy and then save that somewhere. So then we want to come over to compositing and then check use nodes up here. Select our render layer and delete it. We don't need that. Move this composite over here. I'm going to Shift A to add in a input image, and then we're going to select that image. So let's go open, and this is the Pile Shadow Bake 01. And I'm going to hook that up to a viewer node, and that's Control Shift if you're using the Node Wrangler add-on. So Preferences, Add-ons, just type in Node and then click Node Wrangler if you don't know what that is. Most of you probably already know what that is. So I'm going to do this. I'm also going to hold Shift and then right-click, drag a line and another point. Press G to grab that, and then I'm going to put that into the composite as well. Okay, so with our image here selected, come over to item and then under properties, then we can see our properties of this. So it's 1024 by 1024, but basically I'm just going to blur this. So I'm going to Shift A, filter, blur, and hover over this line and drop it in. And then Gaussian, I'm going to change to fast Gaussian, and then I'm going to change this to 2. Just give that a blur of 2. I think that'll be just fine. Okay, so now let's go to our rendering tab. And with our render result, make sure you have your render result selected. You can just press F12 to render, and whoa, we have a nice blue image that we don't want. Well, why is this doing that? Because if we come over to our output and go all the way down to post-processing, you can see that sequencer is checked. And if you go to video editing, you can see our sequencer has this in the viewport, and that is what it's rendering out. So in our render, we want to uncheck sequencer. We want to keep compositing because that is what we just did here. So now let's go back to render, press F12, and now we should see our result here. If for some reason you see all black, it's probably because you have this disconnected from the composite. If you only have it connected to the viewer, this is what you see in the background. If you don't have that, you can just click that backdrop up here. That is just showing in the viewer node. Now, if I come over here and I press F12 and render, it will render all black. Just keep that in mind, or it will render whatever color you have out here. F12. So that is why you need to connect that to the composite. And then now anything that's coming from these nodes going to the composite will be rendered, and that's why we have this. But our dimensions are wrong, and that is where, remember, we checked our image here. If we select that, it's 1024 by 1024. We just need to go to our output and make both of these 1024. For our resolution, come back over here, F12, and now we have a perfect 1024 by 1024 blurred image of our bake. So let's come over here to image, save a copy, and then I'm just going to, after 01, I'm just going to do underscore blur, enter, change this to 16 in RGB, and then save image. Okay, so now let's go back over to our shading, and then in this one, I'm going to open an image, and we're going to choose our blur, and then we're going to connect that one up again, and look at that. Let's go into our layout. Look at how smooth all of those shadows are. Now, they might not be perfect. Like we've got maybe some light that shouldn't be casting over here. I don't know. And we still, of course, have to fix those seams, but at least the blotchiness is gone, and that is amazing because we didn't have to make our samples higher. Now, this blurring process probably could be done with that denoising in. I'll have to play around with that and do another video about that. But that is how you can do it without the denoising yourself.